Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sharing a bed with your partner no longer feels as peaceful as it once did? Maybe it's their snoring, their tossing and turning, or simply the fact that your sleep schedules don't match anymore. You love each other, but lately getting a good night's rest feels impossible. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. As we age, our bodies change, our sleep patterns shift, and even the way we connect with our partners evolves. But here's the surprising truth. Choosing to sleep apart doesn't mean love has faded. In fact, for many couples, it's the key to a stronger, healthier relationship. In this video, we'll explore why so many couples over 50 are rethinking their sleeping arrangements, and how making this one change can actually bring you closer, improve your health, and enhance your overall happiness. From snoring to restless nights, from the need for personal space to the importance of deep rest, we'll dive into the unexpected ways that sleeping separately can benefit both you and your relationship. So before you assume that separate beds mean growing apart, stay with me. You might just discover that a little space at night could lead to a deeper connection during the day. And if this topic resonates with you, let me know in the comments. Type 1 if you believe sleeping apart can help a relationship, or 0 if you think it creates distance. Now let's dive in. At the age of 50, should couples sleep together or apart? Not long ago, I attended a 50th wedding anniversary celebration, an evening filled with laughter, nostalgia, and the wisdom of couples who had spent decades navigating life together. As the night went on, one topic kept coming up: sleep. And to my surprise, many of these couples admitted they had been sleeping apart for years. One elderly gentleman, his eyes filled with both humor and understanding, said, "No, we haven't shared a bed in a long time. She says I smell like alcohol." Another man added, "My wife goes to bed early, and I like to stay up watching TV. When I do, she yells at me to turn it off. The lights, the noise. It's too much for her. So we made a change." Then came the wives' perspectives. "I used to love sleeping next to him," one woman shared, "but now he snores like a freight train. I can't do it anymore." Another laughed and said, "His cold feet always wake me up. I adore him, but I need my sleep." These weren't stories of resentment or growing apart. They were stories of adaptation, of understanding that love isn't about clinging to old routines. It's about finding new ways to make life better for each other. One couple had found the perfect balance. They still shared a room, but each had their own bed with a small gap between them. "We still feel close," the wife told me, "but we both get the rest we need." And that's the heart of the matter. Sleeping separately isn't a sign of a failing relationship. For many, it's the key to preserving it. Our bodies change as we age. Sleep becomes lighter, more fragile, and something that once brought comfort, sharing a bed, can turn into a source of stress. But what if we stop seeing sleeping apart as a problem and instead as an act of love? The love that allows us to say, "I want you to be well rested." The love that understands that a good night's sleep makes us kinder, more patient, and more present for each other. At 50, 60, or beyond, love takes on new forms. It's no longer about proving intimacy by staying in the same bed. It's about waking up refreshed, feeling good, and sharing a life filled with laughter, companionship, and deep connection. So if you and your partner have ever questioned whether sleeping apart is the right choice, know this: it's not about creating distance. It's about making space for rest, health, and an even stronger bond in the years to come. It's clear that for many couples, sleeping arrangements evolve as they grow older. Not because love fades, but because priorities shift. Rest becomes more valuable, and understanding each other's needs takes precedence over old habits. So, what exactly are the benefits of sleeping apart? Let's start with one of the most important aspects of well-being: sleep quality. 1. Improved sleep quality. For years, we've been told that sharing a bed is a sign of love and commitment. But as we enter our 50s, 60s, and beyond, a new truth begins to emerge. Love isn't about where we sleep, but about how we care for ourselves and each other. As we age, our bodies undergo changes that can make sleeping together more challenging. Health issues such as sleep apnea, restless legs, joint pain, or night sweats can disrupt not only your sleep, but your partner's as well. Tossing and turning, snoring, or even different bedtime routines can turn what was once a cozy, comforting experience into a nightly struggle. And when one person isn't sleeping well, both partners feel the strain. I once spoke with a woman named Ellen, who had spent years feeling exhausted but never quite understood why. Her husband snored loudly and sometimes talked in his sleep, waking her up multiple times a night. She loved him dearly, but found herself irritable, drained, and lacking the energy to enjoy her days. After much thought, they decided to try sleeping separately. At first, she worried it might make them feel distant, but the result was the opposite. For the first time in years, I woke up feeling truly rested, she told me. And you know what? It made me a better wife. I was more patient, more affectionate, and we actually started enjoying our time together again. And she's not alone. Many couples find that separate sleeping arrangements actually strengthen their relationship. Why? Because a well-rested person is a kinder, more engaged, and more loving partner. When we're exhausted, even small irritations can turn into big arguments. But when we prioritize rest, we have the energy to listen, to laugh, and to truly connect with each other. Some couples choose to sleep in separate rooms, others opt for separate beds in the same space. Some even create flexible arrangements, sleeping together on some nights and apart on others. The key is to listen to what your body needs and to communicate openly with your partner. This isn't about choosing between love and sleep. It's about realizing that a good night's rest can actually enhance your love. We must move past the outdated idea that sleeping separately means a failing marriage. Instead, we should see it as an act of self-care, and one that benefits the relationship as a whole. Imagine waking up refreshed, full of energy, and ready to face the day together rather than dragging through it in exhaustion. So if you've been struggling with sleep, don't be afraid to rethink old traditions. Your relationship is not defined by where you sleep, but by how you treat each other when you're awake. Prioritizing your well-being isn't selfish. It's the foundation for a healthier, happier, and more fulfilling life with the person you love. 2. Better mental and physical health. As we grow older, our bodies and minds change in ways we never expected. Sleep, something we once took for granted, becomes more fragile. Aches and pains settle in, sleep cycles become unpredictable, and small disturbances, snoring, tossing, even the simple act of getting up for a glass of water, can suddenly feel like major disruptions. For many couples, these nighttime struggles are not just inconvenient. They take a toll on both mental and physical health. Sleep is more than just rest. It's the foundation of our well-being. When we don't sleep well, our bodies don't heal as they should, our immune systems weaken, and our minds struggle to stay sharp. Over time, chronic sleep deprivation can increase the risk of serious conditions like heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and even cognitive decline. But the impact of poor sleep isn't just physical. The emotional toll can be just as heavy. When you wake up exhausted day after day, small frustrations become bigger. You might find yourself more irritable, less patient, and struggling to enjoy the time you have with your loved ones. For many couples, the reality is simple. Sharing a bed, which once symbolized closeness, has become a source of tension. One person's restless night becomes both partners' problem, and when neither of you is getting the sleep you need, the relationship can suffer. I spoke with a woman who struggled with this for years. Her husband's snoring was so loud it kept her awake night after night. She loved him dearly, but she found herself resenting bedtime, dreading the frustration of lying awake while he slept soundly. She tried earplugs, white noise, even gentle nudges to get him to roll over, but nothing worked. Finally, after much hesitation, they made a change. They started sleeping separately, and almost immediately everything shifted. For the first time in years, I woke up feeling rested, she told me. I felt like myself again. And the best part? Without the constant frustration of sleepless nights, I felt closer to him during the day. We had more patience for each other, more laughter, more energy to enjoy life together. And she's not alone. Many couples who have chosen to sleep apart say it has improved their relationship, not weakened it. Why? Because when you prioritize rest, you show up in your relationship as your best self, more present, more engaged, and more loving. This doesn't mean every couple must sleep apart. For some, a simple change, like separate blankets or adjustable mattresses, can make all the difference. Others might prefer sleeping in separate rooms, or even just having the option for nights when extra rest is needed. What matters is not where you sleep, but how well you sleep. A well-rested mind is better equipped to handle stress, to communicate with kindness, and to navigate the challenges of aging with grace. Physically, sleep is a time for the body to heal, to strengthen the heart, to support immune function, and to ease the aches and pains that naturally come with getting older. So if sharing a bed is causing more harm than good, it's okay to rethink old traditions. Sleeping separately isn't about creating distance. It's about creating space for rest, for health, and ultimately for a stronger, more fulfilling relationship. Because love isn't about where you sleep. It's about how you care for one another, day after day, year after year. 3. Personal space and independence. A new kind of closeness. As we step into our 50s and beyond, life takes on a different rhythm. The years of constant responsibilities, raising children, balancing careers, managing a home, gradually give way to something quieter, something more personal. And with that shift comes an unexpected realization: the need for personal space. For decades, many of us have devoted ourselves to others, pouring our time and energy into our families and relationships. But as we age, we begin to crave something we may not have fully understood before: the joy of solitude, the comfort of having a space that is entirely our own. And here's the surprising part. Wanting personal space doesn't mean we love our partners any less. In fact, it can strengthen the bond we share. Many couples reach a point where their habits and preferences start to diverge. One partner enjoys winding down in silence with a book, while the other prefers watching TV late into the night. One values an early bedtime, while the other feels most alive in the quiet hours of the evening. These differences may have seemed trivial in younger years, but over time, they can begin to chip away at the peacefulness we seek in our own home. What once felt like a loving ritual, falling asleep together, can start to feel like a nightly compromise. The glow of a bedside lamp, the flickering of a television screen, or the occasional tossing and turning can all become unintentional disruptions. And in a phase of life where rest is more precious than ever, those small disturbances can add up, leaving both partners feeling frustrated and drained. One woman shared with me how her evenings had become a quiet struggle. She loved ending her day with a cup of tea and a book, savoring the stillness before bed. Her husband, however, had a long-standing habit of unwinding with the news or flipping through channels late into the night. They tried to find a middle ground. She wore an eye mask, he kept the volume low, but the tension was always there, an undercurrent of irritation that neither of them wanted to admit. Eventually, they made a decision that changed everything. They started sleeping apart, and to their surprise, it didn't create distance. It brought them closer. She finally had her peaceful evenings, and he could enjoy his nightly routine without feeling like he was disturbing her. In the mornings, they greeted each other with a sense of renewal, no longer weighed down by the exhaustion of restless nights. There's a misconception that needing space means growing apart, but in reality, it often means growing wiser. A healthy relationship isn't about being inseparable. It's about having the freedom to be yourself while still choosing to be together. Sleeping apart allows couples to embrace that freedom while maintaining emotional closeness. It's a quiet acknowledgement that love isn't about constant proximity, but about respecting each other's needs. Many couples who have adopted separate sleeping arrangements say they feel a renewed appreciation for one another. Without the nightly frustrations, they wake up feeling more patient, more present, and more eager to spend quality time together. Rather than taking each other's presence for granted, they find themselves cherishing the moments they do share. This shift doesn't look the same for everyone. Some couples prefer separate rooms, others choose separate beds in the same space. Some sleep apart only on nights when extra rest is needed. It's not about following a rule, it's about creating an arrangement that allows both partners to thrive. There's something beautiful about reaching a stage in life where you can finally embrace what works best for you, free from the pressures of convention. When you honor your own needs, you show up as a better, more engaged partner. And isn't that the ultimate goal? At the heart of every lasting relationship is respect, not just for the bond you share, but for each other as individuals. Sleeping apart doesn't mean there is less love. It means there is enough love to prioritize well-being, comfort, and happiness. It's a reminder that even after decades together, we are still evolving, still learning new ways to nurture ourselves and each other. Because in the end, love isn't about where you sleep. It's about how you wake up, well-rested, content, and ready to face another beautiful day together. Fourth, emotional well-being, redefining closeness in later life. As we grow older, our emotional needs shift in ways we may not have anticipated. The fiery passion of youth may soften, but the need for connection, companionship, and deep emotional intimacy never fades. In fact, as we enter the later chapters of life, love takes on new dimensions, ones that are often quieter, yet more profound. While many believe that sharing a bed is a non-negotiable part of a loving relationship, the truth is that for many couples, sleeping apart can actually foster a deeper sense of emotional well-being. At first, the idea of separate sleeping arrangements may seem like a symbol of growing distance, but in reality, it's often the opposite. Over the years, couples develop unique routines, habits, and energy levels that don't always align. One may be an early riser who cherishes the quiet of the morning, while the other prefers the stillness of late nights. Some find warmth comforting, while others overheat easily. Snoring, tossing and turning, or simply having different sleep rhythms can turn what was once a place of comfort into a source of frustration. Rather than forcing a compromise that leaves both feeling exhausted, many couples have discovered that sleeping apart offers them the best of both worlds: a restful night's sleep and a more harmonious relationship. There is something powerful about honoring each other's individual needs. When each person has the space to sleep in a way that truly suits them, they often wake up feeling more refreshed, more patient, and more present in their relationship. Gone are the restless nights filled with silent frustrations, replaced instead by mornings that feel lighter, conversations that feel warmer, and time spent together that feels more intentional. One woman shared how this realization transformed her marriage. For years, she had struggled with her husband's snoring, and each night became a test of endurance. She would lie awake, resentful, staring at the ceiling, waiting for sleep to claim her. And yet, as much as she longed for uninterrupted rest, she felt guilty at the thought of sleeping apart. Would it mean they were drifting away from each other? Would it take something essential away from their marriage? But when they finally made the change, the result was unexpected. Her resentment disappeared, replaced by a sense of peace. She could finally sleep through the night, and instead of waking up feeling drained and irritable, she woke up feeling grateful. Their time together became more meaningful. Their patience with each other grew, and rather than feeling distant, they found themselves reconnecting in ways they hadn't in years. Of course, this transition isn't without its challenges. Physical separation can sometimes lead to feelings of loneliness, if not approached with care. It's important to ensure that even if a couple chooses to sleep apart, they remain emotionally present for each other in other ways. Simple gestures, sharing morning coffee, talking before bed, or even setting aside time for small acts of affection can help maintain closeness. Love is not defined by where we sleep, but by how we show up for each other every day. For some, the thought of separate sleeping arrangements may bring uncertainty. After all, we've been conditioned to believe that sharing a bed is the ultimate expression of intimacy. But true intimacy is not about physical proximity alone. It's about mutual understanding, deep conversations, laughter, and the quiet reassurance of knowing you are loved and respected. Sleeping apart does not mean the end of closeness. Rather, it can be a testament to the kind of love that has matured, that recognizes the value of personal comfort without fear of losing connection. It's about embracing the evolving nature of a relationship and realizing that love is not about rigid traditions, but about what makes both partners happiest and healthiest. Every couple must find their own balance, and that balance may shift over time. What works in one stage of life may need adjustment in another. The beauty of a long-term relationship is that it continues to evolve, adapting to new needs and circumstances. Love in our later years is not about holding on to old expectations, but about embracing the freedom to shape our relationship in a way that brings joy and peace. In the end, the decision to sleep apart is not about growing distant. It's about growing wiser. It's about understanding that a well-rested heart is more open, that true closeness is built on respect, and that honoring each other's well-being can bring a couple closer than ever before. Because love is not measured by how we sleep. It's measured by how we wake up together, ready to embrace another day. As we come to the end of this discussion, let's take a moment to reflect on what truly matters. Sleeping apart in later years isn't about growing distant. It's about evolving together, embracing change, and honoring both your own well-being and the deep bond you share. For many couples, this choice brings not only better sleep, but also greater appreciation, emotional closeness, and a newfound sense of harmony. Every relationship is unique, and the most important thing is finding what works best for you. Whether it's adjusting sleeping arrangements, creating more personal space, or simply communicating your needs with kindness, small changes can make a big difference. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts? Share your perspective in the comments below. Your experience might inspire someone else who's navigating the same questions. And if this conversation resonated with you, consider liking and sharing this video with others who might find it helpful. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss more discussions about relationships, aging, and creating a fulfilling life in this new chapter. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Remember, love isn't about where you sleep. It's about how you care for each other every day. See you in the next video.